Hey, what's up, guys? It's Russo, and we got one more game for Week 5. We got the Jaguars versus the Chiefs. Now, a lot of people are calling the Chiefs. I actually think the Jaguars are going to take this one down. I just think that the Jaguars are kind of sneaky, and they haven't really looked like they've figured out their offense yet. But what are they, like 3-1? So I'm leaning the Jaguars. I hope Brian Thomas Jr. just breaks out tonight. I didn't put him in the video. I'm still a little bit too nervous, and I just like these 4 plays. Speaking of the plays, let's go over them real quick. So Patrick Mahomes, I like him to get an interception tonight. So I'm taking that for more. Going to be going Travis Etienne over 14.5 rush attempts. Tyquan Thornton, we're going to go over 4 fantasy score, and Brenton Strange over 35.5 receiving yards. Now, before we break all that down, I want to let you guys know that we are running a fall special through the end of the month. Use code FALL and you'll get 75% off of your first month in our premium Discord. We've got other analysts in there. We've got some heavy hitters. Jay, shout out Jay. That dude is for real. Like he puts out a lot of slips and cashes a lot of slips. The dude is a monster. So come join our community and you'll get access to all of my slips, all of our other analyst slips. Jay shares his slips. The community shares slips. So we get in there, we talk about the games, we have some fun. So if you want to come join us, we are running that fall special. And then if you haven't signed up for Underdog yet, they just boosted this up. It used to be play $5, get $50. I thought that was a good deal. Now that's up to $100. So play $5, get $100 in bonus funds when you use code BACKDOOR. So that information is down below. And then I love this one. Free $20, code BACKDOOR over at Chalkboard. If you end up making a deposit later, it'll help me out. It'll, by using the code, it'll hook me up and help support the channel. But regardless, you can get that $20 for free and play it tonight if you want. So take advantage of that. Let's start talking about the plays now. So before we get into that, let's just talk about the weather for just a minute because it is an outdoor game. So there is a chance of rain. It's not looking like it's going to be too crazy, mid 70s. What I like to pay attention to is the wind, and we've got like gusts around 14 miles an hour. So nothing too crazy, but being an outdoor game out in Jacksonville, I thought I'd just let you guys know that it doesn't look like we have anything too crazy to worry about, like a delay or anything like that. It'll take the momentum away. So I got Tyquan Thornton up here first, so we'll start there. This 4 fantasy score is just super low. I think he's actually one of the better receivers for the Chiefs. And we've got Xavier Worthy, who is back, but also he kind of came up late. If you guys didn't see, he was added, he was downgraded to questionable. Now they're saying he's going to play. They're saying he's fine. It's precautionary, but I guess he rolled his ankle. So I don't think that that's going to keep him from being the target leader. I see a lot of people talking about Kelsey. By all means, if you want to put your money on Kelsey, go for it. I think I'm done with Kelsey personally. And I think that this Jaguars defense is pretty sneaky. So I'm going to stick with Thornton, who I think has played his way into a bigger role. And he actually gets a decent amount of red zone looks. And the dude, if you watched him play, he's gritty. He's good with the contested catch. He's just a really gritty player. And until they get Rashee Rice back, he seems like the closest thing to him, in my opinion. I know that Worthy will get his run. He's super fast, and they love him out in Kansas City. He's definitely highest in the pecking order. But this at 4 fantasy score, a couple of catches would get us there, but he tends to have a nose for the end zone. So yeah, he's cleared this every game so far in 2025. Let's get into some other stats here. So touchdowns, 3 straight games with touchdowns. That was against Philly, against the Giants, and Baltimore. So Baltimore, they're just like an absolute dumpster fire this year. So they're 32nd in touchdowns allowed overall. But then you've got the Giants, who are pretty good on defense, 17th. And then you've got Philly, who's 5th. So he still got in there. Now, the Jaguars are allowing about 2 touchdowns a game overall, and then just 1 to wide receivers. So we can't bank on him getting in the end zone, but I think that 4 fantasy score, we don't even really need him to. It's full PPR on Prizepicks. So let's take a look at the red zone target share. So yeah, 7 red zone targets in their last game against Baltimore, and he got 2 of those targets. So yeah, you can see that they've been kind of giving him a little bit more love in the last 2 games. So, I mean, I'm going to be rolling with it. If we look at the overall target share, you got Hollywood Brown at 23.4%, and that's super inflated because of that one game where he had like 16 targets. So he's the target leader technically. And then you do have Kelsey there at 16%. You got Thornton right there at 14.6%. And so we know that Mahomes likes to spread the ball around, but this is just such a low line that I like him to be able to get this done. Yeah, let's just take another look here. We'll hop into receiving yards on Outlier. Yeah, seeing that last game against Baltimore, he didn't get much. I think he got like one target, and it was an end zone target, and I think he pulled it down if I'm not mistaken. 2 targets, 1 reception in the end zone. That's why this fantasy score is so low. But the week before that against the Giants, he had 9 targets, pulled down 5 of them. So I don't think that this dude is just like emerged as like a superstar yet, but I think he's really good. Personally, I think he's a good player. And I think they're going to continue to find ways to get him involved. It's kind of tricky because you don't know if it's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster one week or Thornton one week. They always do this every year. They're mixing things up. They're figuring things out, and then they kind of figure out what's working. But if we look at the matchup for receiving yards, 18th in receiving yards allowed are the Jaguars. So about middle of the road, a little bit below average. Then if we can see what some of these other pass guys have done against them. Nothing too crazy. Nico Collins went for 104 yards. I mean, you kind of expect that. Jamar Chase. So the big names have been popping off against them. But again, for fantasy score, I'm going to be rolling it. Let's hop over to the DFS optimizer, take a look real quick, and maybe there's something else you guys prefer. The optimizer's been running slow for me today. Okay, so they have his fantasy score actually as the top play, and they're calling it over. 50.27% odds to hit the over. They like his longest reception over 12.5 yards. If you'd rather take that, they like his receiving yards are only at 15.5. That's super low too. And they've got that slightly favored to the over, 50.13% odds to hit the over, minus 118. And I might talk about some other stuff too today at the end of the video if you guys want to stick around for that. We got to talk about Mark Sanchez. I don't care how bad your day was on Sunday, if your plays didn't hit and whatnot, like it's not as bad as Mark Sanchez's. That dude, that's like the ultimate fumbling of the bag. Poor guy. I mean, he needs our prayers, even though he was the aggressor. You hate to see anybody have their life completely. But anyways, back to the next play. So, and I don't even think we talked about it. Let's talk about the over-under here. So you have a 45.5 point over-under. Kansas City favored by 3.5, playing in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville's taking this. I could be wrong. But let's move on to Brenton Strange here. So he's cleared this line. The line opened at 34.5. It's at 35.5. I still took the over. 3 out of 4 games. So 75% hit rate. And these are against tough defenses. San Francisco, he went for 45. Now they were ranked 10th in receiving yards allowed to tight ends. And then you've got Houston ranked 6th. He goes for 61 yards. And then you've got back here, Carolina, actually pretty decent on receiving yards. 8th is what their overall rank was when they matched up. And he went for 59. And then you got the soft matchup against Cincinnati, and he didn't do much, 17 yards. Now we got another tough matchup here. 7th in receiving yards allowed are the Chiefs. Then you go to tight ends and it's 5th. So what that's telling me is the tough matchups are where they tend to target him more. Maybe they're sort of like trying to force the issue, these defenses, but to me, that's looking like a pretty solid pattern we can pay attention to. He actually thrives more when it's a tougher matchup to the tight end position. And he's been getting good usage. You can see he's right behind Brian Thomas Jr., who I still think is going to break out. Could be tonight. BTJ is still leading the team, 23.2%, but they're winning these games. So, like I said, they're winning these games, and their offense doesn't. I mean, the running game looks good, but they're still figuring out their game through the air. So I think Brian Thomas is still going to end the season one of the better wide receiver options, especially for fantasy. Full disclosure, I have him in Dynasty and I have him in redraft. So maybe I'm just being optimistic here, but I think he's still leading in targets. But then you have Brenton Strange right there behind him, 23 targets on the season, 16.7% target share. So he's getting more love than Travis Hunter, who came out of the gates hot and then has been kind of like what do we do with Travis Hunter? And he's been needing to play a little bit more defense lately too. So yeah, tough matchup, but we know that he tends to thrive in those types of matchups. So I think this is nice and low. And then if we also go on Outlier here and switch to home games only, he's been doing well in the home games. So 59 yards and 61 yards. So at 35.5, I'll take it over. Both of those defenses were tough, and he did well at home. Let's take a look at what the usage was. So 4 targets, 4 receptions against Carolina, and then 7 targets, 6 receptions against Houston, who is ranked 6th. So kind of the same type of matchup here. The Chiefs are ranked 5th. They were ranked 6th. So I'm feeling good about it. Let's take a look, see what the optimizer thinks about it. Man, I can't wait for NBA to get back. I do love football, but I've been getting a little bit beat up this year. Okay, so they don't like the, I mean, we didn't have the worst Sunday. What did we get? We cashed like 3 of the plays. We pushed 1, which was Jackson Dart, and then the other 2 plays didn't hit. Quentin Johnston did get shut down, in fact, so I was wrong about that. And so did James Cook. That was a good game though, right? Like, very slow start. But I was watching that game closely and I was very impressed with the Patriots. Drake May looks legit, and just me watching Stephon Diggs all night having a blast, just totally like trolling his old team, was just pure entertainment for me. But they went in there and they beat Buffalo. That was very impressive. So yeah, Brenton Strange, they're not liking the receptions at 4. It's because all these other platforms have it at 3.5. That's what the optimizer's for. It's helping you understand if you're getting a value on the play or not. And you're getting it at 4. Everyone else has it at 3.5. It's saying, maybe bet the under if anything, but they're not even, they give you this little odds to hit indicator. And they're not even super confident to take the under. They're just saying, hey, if anything, this is leaning a little bit more towards the under. They do like the receiving yards, even at 35.5, even though it opened at 34.5. They're still slightly favoring it to the over, 50.55% odds to hit the over, minus 120. And Pinnacle has it down at 33.5, but they got it at minus 132 to go over. So pretty juiced odds there to go over the 33.5. We're only 2 yards ahead of that on Prizepicks, so I'm comfortable with it. They're not feeling the longest reception. They like his fantasy score just slightly over the 8.5, 50.01% odds to hit the over. So a couple pivot options if you guys don't want to take exactly what I'm taking. All right, let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. I know only 1 interception on the season, but this defense, call it luck if you want, but this defense is gritty. Jacksonville's defense is getting turnovers by the truckload so far through 4 weeks. If you take a look here, they're number 1 in interceptions forced, 2.2 per game. Over 2 interceptions a game through 4 weeks is what they're averaging. If we go over here to, I have it pulled up somewhere. I thought I did. Yeah, if we look at the interceptions here on NFL.com, we go down here. They've got 9 interceptions on the season. The next closest is the Seahawks and the Bears with 7 each, and Jacksonville is just out here like, we got 2 more than the closest. So that to me is saying a lot, because interceptions are not the easiest thing to count on. But I think Mahomes is going to get, and I think that he's going to get picked off tonight. So yeah, go with your gut. These matchups here, if you take a look, the Giants through the air, they're a little bit above average, 13th. Baltimore has been terrible, like we said, 27th. So yeah, we expect him to not throw any picks there. He did against Philly, who's ranked 13th when they matched up. But now we're going against number 1, playing on the road, and they've got momentum right now. If they beat the Chiefs tonight, that is a statement. If they go to I think they're 3-1. So if they go 4-1 against the Chiefs, that's going to be pretty legit. But their defense has been a big part of why they're winning these games. Just turnovers, because I mean, it's not just interceptions. I wish there was just a turnovers option, because they're forcing fumbles, they're getting fumble recoveries, like they're doing it all. So I think he's going to have his work cut out for him, and they're just really thriving on the defensive end. And I think that their offense is going to get figured out. So I think Jacksonville is legit personally, because their offense needs a lot of work still, but it's like, man, each week they're getting a little bit closer. And I think BTJ is going to start popping off here pretty soon. So yeah, not a whole lot more to say about Patrick Mahomes, but let's take a look here. Let's see what all the odds makers think. All right, so they're favoring it under. So go with your gut. 51.98% odds for him not to get an interception tonight, minus 128. So little risky there for sure. But I just think, I mean, they're averaging 2.2. I think they're going to get him at least once tonight. But if you want something else of Mahomes, they do like his passing plus rushing yards over, 274.5, 52.06% odds to hit the over. Excuse me. They're not feeling his fantasy score. They like his longest rush over 11.5. I think that sounds good too. And over the rushing attempts, yeah. He's a solid runner. And if he's got a defense that's not giving him much to do, he might just try to extend the plays and net some positive yards on the play. All right, let's wrap it up here. Okay, Travis Etienne. I ended up going with his, excuse me. I ended up going with his, got a crack in my voice there. I ended up going with his rush attempts. The receiving or the rushing yards look really good too. I'll show you guys that in case you prefer that. But yeah, he only has one game where he didn't hit this against Cincinnati. And he still went for 14, so he was right there. We just need him to get 15 tonight. And it was the same type of situation, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you got tough matchup against Carolina. He goes for 16. And then easy matchup, he goes for 14. Tough matchup against Houston, 16. And then, yeah, the Niners, actually, I'm kind of surprised. They're ranked 19th, so nothing too crazy there, but he went for 19. I don't blame you if you prefer the rushing yards. Because he is a big play guy, and I think that he's going to find a hole and get like a big play tonight. But the matchup looks decent. 16th in rush attempts against, 25.8 is what they're allowing Kansas City. So if that's the average, no matter who they're playing, Etienne's getting like the lion's share of the work. Let's see if we can get into that actually. Rushing share. Yeah, okay. So 67%, 59%. I get it. I get it why this is where they set the line, but I'm still comfortable taking the over. But like I said, you can take the rushing yards if you prefer to. I'll show you that real fast. Yeah, he popped off for 124. Let's look at these longest rushes. Yeah, so he had a 48-yarder against San Francisco, a 71-yarder against Carolina, who was a tough matchup, and then a 30-yarder against Cincinnati, and then was only able to get 10. A 10-yarder was his longest against Houston, averaging about, through 4 weeks, about 6 yards a carry. But yeah, the rush attempts, they're kind of right. It looks like his baseline is about 15, so I'm comfortable taking it. And then the matchup against Kansas City is surprisingly good. 22nd in rushing yards allowed, 127 yards a game is what they're giving up. And then 21st against running backs, 94.5 yards a game. So you got some options there. I'm taking the rush attempts. I'll probably take the rushing yards and another slip as well. Let's take a look. And then I will show you guys some bonus plays on the optimizer, which I forgot to do in the last video. Sorry about that. I was in a hurry. Okay. So they're not feeling his fantasy score over 13. They had that favored to the under, 52.99%. They do like the rush attempts over. Decent amount of juice too, 52.6% odds to hit the over. Looks like everyone has it at 50-50 or favored to the over. And we have some platforms bumping this up to 15.5. So the 14.5 looks great. I don't know if I'm taking the 15.5 if it gets bumped, but 14.5 I will take all day. They like his longest rush over 13.5. That looks good too. That's another great option if you prefer that. 51.47% odds to hit the over. So some pivot options here if you don't want to take the attempts, but that just looks like the most reliable in my opinion. All right, let's get into some bonus plays. If you guys want the optimizer for yourself, use code BACKDOOR. You get 25% off of your first purchase. So you want to lock it in through the rest of NFL or lock it in through NBA as well. You can get 25% off for as long as you want. Helps the channel a lot. So just make sure you use code BACKDOOR. They'll give you 25% off. And you can use it on any of the tools they offer. So check it out. Let's see. So they like Pacheco as the top play, over 7.5 rush attempts. I'm just like a little nervous about Pacheco. It's just, there's no clear bell cow out there. So, but the optimizer likes it. So if you guys want it, 53.33% odds to hit the over minus 134. Let's see, we got some unders here. There's those the Etienne rush attempts. Travis Hunter over 3 receptions, 52.43% odds to hit the over minus 129. And longest reception for Hunter, they like him over 14.5. I think the only reason that they like it is because it's at 15.5 just about everywhere else. And it's kind of a 50-50 shot on these other platforms, but they are favoring it a little bit to the over. So yeah, maybe he breaks one off for more than 14.5 tonight. I'm not personally interested. Travis Kelce over 40.5 receiving yards. They like it. 52.28% odds to hit the over minus 129. Trevor Lawrence pass attempts. They like over. They like his rushing yards over 10.5. They like Kelce over 4 receptions. So yeah, everyone's favoring Kelce tonight. I'm just, maybe. I think it's because it's like a primetime game and stuff like that. Like, maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan. Trevor Lawrence fantasy score over 15. They like that. 51.89% odds to hit the over. And yeah, single game slate, so not a ton to go through here. But yeah, they like Xavier Worthy, longest reception, 21.5, 51.7% odds to hit the over. I'm just yeah, I know he's capable. If he was fully healthy, I would be into it. I'm just like, okay, so why, if he's like fine, why did you downgrade him to questionable? Okay, maybe precautionary. That's fine. But the dude's already dealt with injuries and missed some time this year, so we'll see. They like his overall receiving yards to go over as well. 57.5, 51.58% odds hit the over minus 125. Mahomes pass rush yards, they like over. Here's some other names we haven't gotten into yet. Parker Washington, longest reception over 10.5. He has been getting a decent amount of love. I'm really curious what the Chiefs are going to focus on, because the Chiefs typically will focus on like who they think is the best weapon to try to stop. So you would think coming into the season that would be Brian Thomas Jr., but he hasn't been that relevant yet. So I'm wondering if they're going to focus on Etienne. Either way, I think that they're going to just hammer the ball and he'll get the rush attempts. But yeah, the Chiefs tend to do that. Steve Spagnuolo, he tends to want to take out your best weapon and say, beat us without this guy. Kind of like a Belichick type of approach. All right, yeah, there's that Travis Etienne, 13.5 longest rush. They like that over. I guess I really don't have much more to say about Mark Sanchez, but what a wild situation. He's out there to announce the game the next day, and then apparently was blackout drunk the night before and beat up some 69-year-old dude that was there to, I guess, change out grease traps for like a restaurant. That's sad, man. That's sad. And I've had situations in the past where like I had issues with alcohol, and I'm like 2.5 years sober now. So when you hear something like that, you're just like, phew, stark reminder for people like me to stay off the sauce. And I've been great ever since I stopped. And I know not everybody's that way, but you got to know that about yourself when you have an issue. And sad to hear about Sanchez becoming someone else and doing wild things with a little bit of booze. All right, back to it. Diami Brown, over 26.5 receiving yards. It likes it over. 51.29% odds to hit the over. Kareem Hunt, longest reception, 4.5. That seems kind of low. But again, I don't know. I mean, then you got Brashard Smith, who's like a 7th round pick, who's getting a lot of love now too. So it's kind of like a 3-headed monster in that backfield. It's hard to say. They like Travis Hunter over his receiving yards. And then we'll wrap up here. Yeah, Tyquan Thornton. His lines are all so low. They do like that 14.5 receiving yards over. Let's just take the fantasy score, like I said. But this is a 51.19% odds to hit the over, if you guys want to take that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Do me a favor, like the video, hype it up if you don't mind. Helps me out. I took the summer off and I've just been struggling to get things back rolling here. Got a totally different schedule on my hands now, but I'm trying to get things locked in. I'm thinking about putting out less picks. I like to give you guys as many picks as possible because that's what I would want as a viewer. But man, NFL's been kicking my butt. So I'm thinking about breaking it down to like 3 picks. I see a lot of these channels doing like 3 picks. I promise I'll never be one of those guys that's just giving you all goblin plays and then like flexing when goblin plays hit and be like, I'm like 72-2, all goblins. But I will be, maybe you guys let me know if you want me to keep doing the 6-mans on Sunday, hit me up in the comments. If not, I might drop it down to like 4, maybe 3, like some of these other channels are doing, and just try to get some streaks going here. But I appreciate you guys. Hit me up if you have any questions about any plays. I will hop on Outlier and all that stuff. Speaking of Outlier, you guys can try this out for free. It's a killer app. Just sign up through the link below and they'll give you a week just to check it out. They've got everything you could possibly want, from EV betting to insights about players that you're not typically thinking of. Like they'll just put stuff on your radar. Like I'll go into this Brenton Strange here, just show you insight. So it's something we were kind of already looking at. He's exceeded 39.5 receiving yards in 4 of his last 5 games. Okay, so it's because I've still it up on the home games. So yeah, it'll show you that. Be like, hey, this dude, 4 of his last 5 games, he's averaging 48.4 receiving yards a game. Just little insights like that. I love that option for it. But yeah, they cover everything you could possibly want. So try it out for free. See if you like it. If you like it, keep your subscription going. But have a great Monday, guys. Let's get off to a good start. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.